Before we get to today's show, I wanted to share a quick reminder that being financially organized is one of the biggest factors in building wealth. Want to be a millionaire? It's not going to happen if you're not organized with your money. So, how can you get organized? Well, our favorite app is Empower. It's free, allows you to connect your banks and brokers, and it gives you daily income and expense updates. Ready to try it out? You can sign up at thecollegeinvestor.com/empowermoney. Welcome to the College Investor Audio Show. So glad you're here with us today. Let's take a look at this article. SoFi's SEC filing says its private student loans can be discharged in bankruptcy. Very interesting topic. Before we get to it, quick reminder, anytime you hear a podcast, you can always see the article that goes along with it. Dive in deeper, get all the links and resources at thecollegeinvestor.com. Type in the words of the title of the podcast right into the search bar and you'll find it. Click all the buttons on social media, follow and all the things. Just search for The College Investor. You'll find us pretty much anywhere you are. We're hanging out there too. All right, so SoFi Technologies told federal securities regulators that its private student loans can be wiped out in bankruptcy under certain conditions, a quiet admission that cuts against one of the most repeated lines in personal finance, right? The disclosure sits in SoFi's annual report, a Form 10-K filed with the SEC for the fiscal year ending December 31st of 25. In the risk factors section, the company warns investors that its, quote, private education loans may be discharged in bankruptcy in certain situations, including when a court finds the debt is not a qualified education loan or that repayment would cause undue hardship, which in bankruptcy it most likely would, right? SoFi adds that a private loan can also be discharged if the borrower dies or becomes disabled. Here's why this matters. Borrowers are routinely told private student loans are the one debt bankruptcy can't touch. Well, that belief keeps people paying and keeps them from asking whether the specific loan even qualifies for the protection lenders imply is kind of automatic. A lender can shape its marketing, but a public company has to disclose real risk to shareholders. SoFi's filing is that disclosure. The legal reality. Federal law does not shield every education debt either. Under 11 U.S.C. Section 523A8, only 3 categories survive bankruptcy without a special showing: government or nonprofit-backed loans, an educational benefit, and a, quote, qualified education loan. We have links to the specific law and section number and everything inside this article at thecollegeinvestor.com. In case you're curious, it is riveting read. A private loan that fits none of the 3 can be discharged like a credit card, with no undue hardship proof required at all. Interesting. Here's what a real bankruptcy attorney actually looks for. Joshua Cohen is a consumer attorney known as the student loan lawyer. He says that private loans are still a bear to discharge, but that specific facts can push a loan outside of the protection under the law, meaning it can be discharged just by simply filing. No undue hardship fight required. His list of loans often fall outside the definition. Money lent to a student who never earned a high school diploma or GED, loans for an unaccredited school or a non-degree program, like a bar study loan or a flight school that doesn't award a degree, loans made above the school's cost of attendance, loans backed by a cosigner who, quote, had no dependent relationship with the student such as grandparents, friends, neighbors, siblings, or even parents once the student was in graduate school. Cohen notes that the cost of attendance argument usually requires an adversary proceeding, which can be hard-fought and expensive, and that case law there isn't really settled. But he does point to a quieter dynamic in borrowers' favor. Most private loans do not want published case law that differentiates private loans from federal loans. That's a direct quote from him. So when the facts raise a real question for a judge, he says, settlement is very likely. For qualified loans, discharge still runs through an undue hardship claim where most courts apply the demanding Brunner test. A 2022 Justice Department memo told government lawyers to stop fighting these cases so hard, but that guidance covers private loans not private lenders, like SoFi. Let's connect the dots for you. We've long covered why student loans rarely get discharged in bankruptcy and what borrowers should know about private student loans before signing. With Americans carrying more than $1.8 trillion in student loan debt, the distinction between a qualified and non-qualified loan is not academic. Our definitive guide to student loan debt walks through the wider picture here. And if you're weighing a lender or a refinance, see our SoFi Student Loans Review, our list of the best private student loan lenders and the best student loan refinance lenders. Also worth knowing what really happens when you stop paying and the full list of ways to get student loan forgiveness. All of it is inside this article at thecollegeinvestor.com. Amazing resources. SoFi isn't accused of anything wrong either. This filing just states the law and is required, but it's actually a very useful receipt. The company holding the loan concedes to Wall Street what borrowers rarely hear. Whether any single loan can be discharged depends on how it was originated. So pull out your original loan documents and ask a consumer bankruptcy attorney before assuming that no is the answer. And that will conclude our show for today. Thanks so much for being here. And if you want to find out more, you can always like and share and subscribe and click all the buttons on socials. Just type in the words The College Investor. We're hanging out pretty much anywhere you are. We'd love to get to know you. You can also go to thecollegeinvestor.com, dive into this article, find all of the links. There are tons of resources for you. thecollegeinvestor.com. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you again real soon.